The act of speaking directly to another person is a fairly easy task for many people and is accomplished without any difficulty or errors. However, ask that same individual to stand, turn, and address the entire classroom of students, and all of a sudden, his or her arousal level spikes. Many individuals in a similar situation may find themselves unable to put words together well enough to form coherent sentences or to pronounce words correctly. In essence, they may become tongue tied, all because their arousal level has gotten too high. Even though the average person might require a moderate level of arousal to feel content, there are some people who need less arousal and some who need more. The person who needs more arousal is called a sensation seeker. Arousal theory focuses on our general level of activation. This theory suggests that people are driven to perform actions in order to maintain an optimum level of physiological arousal. Arousal varies throughout the day, from low levels during sleep to much higher ones when we are performing strenuous tasks and activities we find exciting. Optimal arousal varies from one individual to the next. Some people may require a higher level of arousal, which might motivate them to seek out exciting and stimulating activities. Other people may do better with much lower arousal levels, so they might feel compelling to seek out soothing and relaxing activities. It is often difficult to determine in advance just what level of arousal will be optimal for a given task. Robert Yerkes and John Dodson studied the relationship between the level of arousal and performance in a test. In general, the more difficult the task, the lower the level of arousal at which reductions in performance begin to occur. This suggestion is known as Yerkes-Dodson law, and it does seem to apply in many situations. A higher arousal level can sometimes help us perform better, but it can also impair performance if arousal levels are too high. In final exams, increased arousal can lead to better test performance by helping you stay alert, focused, and attentive. On the other hand, excessive arousal can lead to test anxiety and leave you nervous and unable to concentrate on the test. When arousal levels are very high or very low, performance tends to be worse. However, factors other than task difficulty also seem to play a role. For instance, large individual differences exist with respect to preferred arousal level. The individual with high arousal need, motivated to seek risky or thrilling activities such as motorcycle racing, skydive, or parachute from building in order to maintain his or her ideal levels. If any individual need to rise his arousal levels, he might engage in physical activity, socialize with friends, try something new and exciting, watch an action-packed movie, etc. If any individual need to prefer much lower levels of arousal, he might enjoy a relaxing hobby, read a book, take a bath, take a nap, etc. No matter what our arousal needs are, we will be motivated to act in order to maintain these levels. So, although arousal theory provides useful insights into the nature of motivation, the fact that we cannot readily predict what will constitute an optimal level of arousal does limit its usefulness to a degree. Drive reduction theory and arousal theory both share some commonalities, but instead of focusing or reducing tension, arousal theory suggests that we are motivated to maintain an ideal level of arousal. Now do this. Critically evaluate arousal theory of motivation.